Welcome back on into 2K with the Popboy. Alright, and you know what it is. I've tested more of these defensive settings so we can get our AI teammates to play just good, smart defense. And this one we got today, it's a touchy subject for so many of us, but we're gonna face it head on together. That's right, it's time to deal with the off-ball screen setting. And if you're with me last summer, then you know, well, we could see this problem coming a mile away. You may remember I had an upload prior to the game coming out in which I broke down this very issue. Defenders getting held up on off-ball screens for way too long, looking disoriented, like they don't know where to go next, taking forever to recover and get back to their man. So all of this just makes this setting even more important, okay? Because we're already kind of starting off behind the 8 ball here. So we gotta get this thing right. And first thing we want to do, of course, eliminate automatic. Okay, next thing, the one all the way over here to the right, switch. Now, sometimes they will look a little confused and take a little too long to execute the switch, and there'll be kind of a lapse in coverage. But I will still say that this is the best option if and only if you have a very, very versatile defensive lineup out on the floor. Okay, so the vast majority of the time we're not going to use this setting. It does take a pretty damn special lineup to be able to use it and not get exposed by mismatches. Now, before we go any further, there is one related setting down here we want to take care of. First, it's the switch rules. If you do have that special versatile defensive lineup and you're using switch all for your off-ball screen setting, then you just want to come down here and put this one on switch all as well. Now, for most lineups where you're not going to be switching everything, there's no one right setting for this to go with all the time. It's going to be dependent on your lineup and your opponent's lineup. And the best way to look at this and decide which one you want to use, I think, just look at what is the biggest mismatch you want to avoid and then put it on the other one. Okay, so for example, if you have a point guard who's small or a bad defender and you don't want to get him switched onto their great tall scoring machine 2 guard, then you're going to want to put that on switch bigs. But the other side of the coin, if you have a stretch 4 who's a bad defender, or you have a small ball lineup and your 4 is undersized and you don't want to get him switched onto their beastly center, then we're going to go over to switch guards. So even though there's usually not a ton of off-ball screens that are set guard to guard or big to big, we still want to set this on one or the other. We don't want to leave it on auto. And we definitely don't want to give the game any freedom to just randomly decide to switch an off-ball screen at the worst possible time. Okay, now let's come back up here to the main setting. Let's take a look at the go over setting first. So the first thing we'll notice here, when we have our guys go over these off-ball screens, take a look at the path that it makes them take to recover back to their man. Okay, you see that? It's just going to make them take a really wide, long path. It just puts the defender in a trailing position, okay, and he's going to end up chasing his man from behind. And we can all see here what that does. Take a look at the paint. I mean, there's nobody home. This is just leaving our defense totally exposed. And this isn't just an every once in a while thing. It happens all the time. It's just the dumbest, most inefficient path you could imagine. And look at this. The worst thing about... I forgot about this clip. Check this out. When we have our guys going over, we still get beat even if the screener doesn't connect at all. It still gets their guy free and clear of the defender, and our guy still has to chase him from behind, and our defense is still totally exposed. So clearly that's the biggest problem with this go over setting, but don't worry, there's more. Let's see here. Other things I found when I was testing on this setting. The defenders are more likely to get hit with a solid screen. The screener has an easier time connecting on screens. The defender is more likely to get hit with that kill shot, that brutal screen that just leaves him disoriented. It's going to allow the screener to kind of milk the screen for longer. Okay, you see that? The defender will just kind of drag on the screener for an extra period of time. Okay, and just in general, when you have them going over, the defenders are going to have a harder time. They're going to take longer to get past the screener. I mean, look at this one here. This is hilarious. He's trying to go over the screen, but he runs into it, and then he just ends up I don't know, just like standing there for some reason with a blank expression. And then he finally realizes, where am I? Oh crap, my guy's all the way on the other side of the floor. Let me just turn around and sprint over to him. So then he kind of ends up going under anyway. But not until like forever has passed and his guy is way the hell on the other side of the floor already. And you would think that going over would be good for defending guys coming off the screens and just catching and shooting. But in 2K19, it's really a lot of times not even good for defending that. I mean, having our defenders chasing from behind isn't really going to help us in a catch and shoot situation. Not to mention the fact that they usually take longer to get through the screen anyway. Okay, so I think that's enough. We're going to give a solid no to this go over setting. So that, of course, leaves us with go under. So that's the one that we are going to want to go with, and let me show you why. You'll see how much better this setting is, and I'll show you the best thing about going under in a sec here. But first of all, just look at how much better of a position the defender is in throughout here. Hey, this is what we want. Throughout the play, the defender is staying in a good position to defend the paint, defend the rim, keeping himself between his man and the basket. Look at the path he's taken to recover back to his man once he gets through the screen. It's a much shorter, more efficient, just a smarter path to take to recover back to your man. I mean, this is so much better. Now we have the defenders cutting off the guy coming off the screen rather than wildly chasing from behind. And let me get to the best thing about this setting, okay? When you have it on go under, it's going to allow your defenders to sort of circumvent the screen a lot more often. Hey, you'll see a lot more defenders just kind of slipping right past the screener before he can get fully set up. Now, when I was testing, it became crystal clear to me that the screener just has a harder time getting in front of the defender and just fully connecting on a screen. But even when the screen does connect, when we have our guys going under, they're usually going to take a little less time to get through it. And like I said, they're less likely to get hit with that kill shot screen and just stand there disoriented. Okay guys, so that's what it is. We definitely want to make sure this thing is on under. Really important this year because we know the game, the AI has problems with getting through off-ball screens and tracking their man off of off-ball screens. So we definitely want to have it on the setting that's going to sort of mitigate that problem as much as possible. And that is for sure go under. But of course, you know it doesn't stop there. I'm going to keep testing, make sure I get them right, and we'll continue to do what we do. So go ahead and subscribe if you're new, then you can hit your notifications on, keep up on everything I learned. And if you enjoyed, if you found this useful, don't forget to leave a thumbs up before you go. Okay, that'll help the channel grow and allow me to test more things in the future. But for now, I'm headed back down to the 2K lab, so hit me up in the comments if you need anything in the meantime. But I'll see y'all right back here next time on 2K with the Popboy.